Well, he's back. Michael McGill, our really good friend. Michael McGill Jr. joins us live.
Michael McGill Jr. joining us in the loft.
Michael McGill was on Dr. Phil. Maybe you saw it. He has lowered himself to come on our show.
Oh, stop it. I'm amongst the greatest.
Michael McGill is making his way to the couch. We're going to chat with him about how to make 2019 the best year yet.
Ask yourself, am I asking them to do things that I already do for myself? Because if I don't, that's called codependency. And you want interdependency. Codependency says, without you, I'll die. Interdependency says, with you, I'm higher. And then we get pissed off at them, but in reality, people show you who they are. It's will you believe them? So if you realize this person doesn't have the emotional capacity, you might want to reflect and you might want to rewind. Hello. The breakdown first starts when someone feels, not about what you think or what you believe, but when someone feels devalued, diminished, dishonored, disrespected, when that is someone's truth, as they say, truth becomes reality. When that's someone's truth, conflict happens and people either shut up, they go off, or they shut down. So often we don't tell the truth out of fear. I don't want to lose this relationship. I think of what I say may offend them, but it's so important. If you feel it, you got to deal with it. Feel it, deal with it, because feelings buried alive, they don't die. They show up in other areas of your life.
They sprout out like a weed.
Yes, it's the underbelly of mistrust and dis-ease and disease. It's those feelings.
Well, let me tell you something.
What you gonna tell
me? You have a solution.
I do, hopefully. It's not the movement of the clock that changes the life. How we always say, new year, new me, new year, new me. It's not the movement of the clock that changes the life. It's the movement of the mind, the renewal of the mind, the patterns and behaviors. If you don't change the mind, you don't change the behaviors. If you don't change the behaviors, you don't change the life. This is the thing about transformation. Radical transformation takes place in the small things. It's the small things that you do, the small things that you eat, the small things that you say. You don't just go to the gym one day and lose 25 pounds. It's incremental. It's incremental.
Well, it goes into what we have with this criminal justice system, just from a sociological lens. When you really look at the data and the history, it's really not fair. It's not equitable. You hear me out. I'm all for compassionate judgeships. I believe in compassion. We need more compassion. In fact, we need compassion merged with the spirit of the law. However, even with that compassion, I really am begged to wonder the fact that if she had been, think about the mother who put her daughter into the wrong school, the poor mother who put her daughter into the wrong school. She was given nearly just as much time. Think about the black man who was arrested and who was sentenced to life in prison for stealing a $159 jacket. The other black man that was sentenced to life in prison for the intent to distribute $10 worth of weed that people are now profiting off of. So that is where it's juxtaposed for me. That's where some of the anger and the resentment comes from, because I just wonder, I don't know for certain, but I wonder, had it been a black man, a black officer who had walked into a white woman's home, hear me when I say this, and shot her accidentally while she was eating ice cream, when all the signs showed it was the wrong place, and it was revealed they had racist text messages as well as very militant in her social media profile, I can only wonder, would he have been given a hug? Would he have been given the grace and forgiveness speech? Would he have been given the compassion and the sympathy? And the research tells us from history, the answer is absolutely not.
So how about go where you're celebrated, not where you're accommodated? We're bombarded with all of these messages that really impact our social and emotional sense of self. And so what I get to encourage folks is that just the way you are, your height, the thickness of your lips, the size of your hips, you are worthy. Even when I graduated college, I didn't even go to my own college graduation. It goes back to that worthiness principle. It goes back to not believing that what I accomplished was good enough. And primarily because when I was in college, my stepfather was murdered. It was challenges around our relationship and what I was dealing with, so I took a break. And I didn't believe that I accomplished the dream because it wasn't within the right timeline. And so because I took some time off, I said, well, when I graduate Hopkins, then, for post-grad, then I'll celebrate. But at that particular time, I had to apologize, and even now to myself, and say, forgive me for not celebrating your worthiness. Your child is much more than just their test score. They're much more than just how many AP courses they've taken. In order to change the schools, we first have to change society. This is a systemic societal issue. Let me tell you what I know to be true. People are praised when they work like a slave, but they're often told they're lazy. They're often told they don't take life seriously when they take time for rest and play and vacations. That's a real societal issue. Remember, parents, we model by word and by deed. If they religiously see you working all of the time and preaching to them that they got to be in the AP class class for this and the AP class for that. We teach them that their worthiness is equated to their work, and it's not.
Baby, y'all not gonna do it like that.
Listen. There is a difference between judgment and accountability. You need to be held accountable for your actions, because let me tell you something. When you have sex, it's to procreate. Pro means life, create. If you don't want to have a baby, keep your thing in your pants and leave her genitals alone. Okay? Simple as that. What you did to her was foul.
Sometimes stem from our relationships. If you are constantly accommodating and tolerating bad behavior from people, that will wear on you, and then you will begin to ask yourself, why am I good enough? Why do I not have this? Why do I not have that? A part of it stems from the relationships. Healthy people live in healthy relationships.
Wow.
When I forgive, I'm releasing myself from the emotional umbilical cord of the toxicity. Forgiveness doesn't mean that I have to invite them into my home, I have to have dinner, I have to be okay with their behavior. Forgiveness doesn't mean I condone what you do. I think we've been bamboozled to believe that forgiveness is synonymous with reconciliation, and it's not. I don't have to reconcile to forgive.
That's what Happy Baby is. That's the Happy Baby. Do it again. But Happy Baby is good to get your spine aligned, and so that's why it's a good activity.
Do it again.
You're so nasty.
No.
Good for the end.
I just missed an opportunity to go.
But think about how many people actually expel gas and fart in yoga. Wait, this is just
on that. This is
Monday
the whole
and
church.
Wednesday yoga.
Hang on. Michael McGill. Michael McGill. Seriously.
I have an open appointment.
I know, right? We have a long couch. We all might need some sessions. You are the greatest, Michael.